Are you in the same boat with some of these other Republicans who have some questions, some frustrations with how things are going at the White House, especially recent days?
No, I'm not. I think everything that the administration is doing is putting the American people first. He wants to bring the manufacturing, he wants to bring the jobs back to this country, and I think he's doing one hell of a job. Elon is exposing the waste, fraud, and abuse we've seen for decades, and I think the tariffs are a good thing. It's a big, beautiful word, as the president has said, and he's using that to work with other countries to try to have more fair and free trade. And in 1934, the Tariff Act, passed in 1934, delegated authority to the President of the United States to have more input on trade agreements. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's doing a hell of a job with it.
Some people in Congress, as you know, want to take that back. Even some Republicans, that power that was in the Congress. Doesn't sound like you want to do that because you said you're supportive of the president. I want to go back to a comment you made, though, a moment ago and say, is that contradictory, these goals that the president has? In other words, bringing back manufacturing jobs. Say, as the Treasury Secretary has suggested, they cut some deals with Japan or South Korea or some other countries in coming days. Can you do both? Or is it one or the other on bringing back the jobs and cutting trade deals?
Well, you got to try to understand, you can't really believe all the dishonest media, what they're saying, but this doesn't apply to Canada and Mexico. It's at 25%. But we're talking about China, and we spend a lot of money. There's a lot of talk about the greatest threat to our country, which is China. And all he is doing is he's holding them accountable. With the tariffs, when he was president in 2016, he put tariffs on China. And if they were such a bad idea, Joe Biden wouldn't have kept them. And we're bringing in $77 billion annually with these tariffs and stuff.
Well, they were far more targeted, as you know, Congressman, even those, and then you're right, Biden kept them, but 104%. That's basically if a U.S. company, say a U.S. company wants to bring in goods, could be a small business, and they say, well, we got to buy it, and then the place we're buying it from is China, that doubles the price. So it's going to hurt the economy here, too, right?
Now, we have a president that's a businessman. Donald Trump didn't get rich by being stupid. He didn't get rich by being stupid. He's a businessman. The guy that we had several months ago for 4 years, he didn't know what he was doing, and everybody knows it. He wasn't even aware of what he was doing or what he wasn't doing. So we got a businessman in the White House. The American people support him. I haven't had anybody in my district calling me concerned about these tariffs. I haven't had anybody call me and saying, hey, listen, I'm hemorrhaging, I'm selling my stock because I'm going to go broke, my portfolio is garbage. Haven't had any of it. A lot of people feel a lot of confidence. They feel good about having Donald Trump in the White House because he puts America first, and he's doing that. He and Elon and the rest of his staff.
Tenor of those calls might change if we head into recession, though, no?
No, well, let's just wait and see. But I believe Donald Trump knows exactly what he's doing. It's all about free and fair trade and reciprocal trade. We've been taking it in the shorts for a long, long time. And now Donald Trump has, 70 other countries? 70 other countries now are coming to the table to say, hey, what can we do to work things out? I think he's playing this beautifully. Quite honestly, he's playing it beautifully. It's the art of the deal, and Donald Trump knows how to do it.
Thank you, Congressman. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.